asking me before I forget if you could send the comments to me.
Sure, sure.
It doesn't make a difference if it's here or just
The
like
same time zone. Yeah, yeah, not
same
a
time
problem.
zone. So I need to do my shtick out. Somebody's there, but it
Yeah, for sure.
doesn't have to be tonight. Could be something else, right?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Um, there is a ton of agodas. I just picked. There's a agoda from Alom de Agoda from the Nesivas, the Ktsos and the Nesivas. Everything is with Alomdas. Karogel, I added a story. It's just that I came home and I didn't have enough time to. So I really have like. I really have more Dvaratoides, but first we'll do the Dvaratoides that I have here. And
We'll take the paper home so you'll have what to read.
yes, and then I'll add the ones that I couldn't put on the paper. Okay, yes, that's why I moved a little bit aside.
Right.
Okay. Kiyadua, the Nesivas had a little bit Shaykhs Sidim and a little bit of a Yachas. And anyway, Beniga to the Ktsos, Kiyadua, was the other ways, it's a bisschen nicht als gehalten von Sidim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'shakol midvarim.
Amen.
Okay, the thing with the Agodas Mais and Nisim, why I picked this is everything is a chap and a lomdus. So okay, this is it. Why did I jump to the middle of Agoda? Because a lot of times I hate on Vartoides in the beginning of the Agoda and you run out of steam. So I decided today to pick from the middle of the Agoda. Nicht, not from Avodim Mayinu and not from Meisim Rablazim Rabazaria and not from Maria, from V'chulu V'chulu. Okay. Okay.
One night's not enough for that guy.
Yeah. V'lo zechise shet Amar Loshen Etzuach K'moy man de Zoki Lamali V'ha Zakinu L'Rabonon Harin Kevin Shin Mishama Haram beperike Mishnah Yisai Perik Ham de Brachs Kosev de Hoye Kolkach Mas mit de Belamudu Shavkav Sharach B'Shon Mekov Tzala Vazikne Vasev Ad Kan Lashoyne Aval Shom Begemora he said the Bim Sheminu L'Rablazim Na Zaya Nosi Hoye Bar Tam Nisori that he was 18 years old and he didn't have a white beard. The boy said, Tam Nisori Dori Chivarta Ayin Shom the Gemara Brachas Da.
I would think it's a mitzvah. Yeah, 12-year-old with a beard or white beard.
Yeah.
It's a mitzvah.
The Lokamesh Kosova Bar Ben Elbashim Yishal. Tola Dove Beneze Hine Alomdas. Yesh Loimer. The Mashin Ansaloi Neze Megadlos Azokim Shadisa Bikidushin. The Tanakama Spirit of Adarat Pnei Zokim Shatzorach Lias Zokim Vachochem Kamashmos Akro. The Dvorim Kiksavim Aval Yonig Vachakim Loy. Tanakama said it's not enough that he's a Yonig Vachakim. He's young and smart. He has to be a nice white beard. As if Reb Chaim Tzvi. Has to have a nice white beard. Rabbi Yosef Lilis Firalei da Filu Yilionik Vachakim Muchuyev Lasas Kima Vider. Fikich Nasan Les do you need a Kizokim. If it would have been the halacha like Tanakama, so why does he need a miracle? Rabbi Yosef Lili Halta. I'm sorry. If there would have been just like Rabbi Yosef Lili, what does he need a white beard for? But Yosef Tanakama says that he also have to be a white beard. So therefore the Eibush gave him a white beard. So if so, from this nes is mashma that when the pasuk says zokin, it means zokin. That it says, what's it say that you have to mention tis mitzrayim yimei ima amrim the mashmos akro dvarim kiksaven mashma dafke yomim v'loy loylas. It says yomim. Yomim means day and not night. Avali loy nem dvarim kiksaven shamper yesh loymer di yimei koilo gam leilas. So kavanos abamra nekivin shimishana shmami no dvarim kiksaven b'pnei zeh lohi zachisi li yinatzech lechachamim shetam yitzias mitzrayim baleilas d'mechayecha mashma davka yomim. He said a poshta zak. He said like this. He said, why? The Eibishter made a miracle that I should have a white beard. Why? Because it says, they talking. You have to stand up for an old man. So maybe when the pasuk says, Laman Tisker, as Yoim Tzeischa Me'eretz Mitzrayim, means Dafke Yomim, V'loy Leilas, because that's what the pasuk says. and you have to say dvarim kiksavam, mamish dvarim kiksavam. Kol yimei chayech yomim. Achaba ben zayna v'darish leilish meribi from the extra word called a tenuach daita, and that made Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah calm down. So Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah said, "Are ani kiven shivin shana v'loy zachisi." All the Mefarshim asked, "You're a shnuk, 17, 18 years old. Big deal, loy zachisa. Join if you're really a man of
17 was a
Fashtei. Fashtei. Okay, so we know the Rebbe's word, what the Sichta, some Ardikin word, that because he was a Gilgal of and therefore he was a Gilgal of another neshama, and together he was 70. Like the Rebbe Marash before he passed away, he said that he's 100 years old because his age and the Shmuel Hanavi's age together was 100 years old. But a peep shot in Lomdus what hot klep. Hareni kiven shivim shana. I'm not really shivim. I'm only kiven shivim. So why are you upset that loy zachitzi shetama? Zakte Reb Nissen Luberboim the Maisa Nisim. Poshet. The Eibushter made from a miracle. They should have white hair. Why? Like the shita that says that vorum kiksava. It has to be Neseva talking Mamish Alter. Is Eba when the Pasuk says Yimei Chayecha, Ef Shemetis Kipshutoi, Yomim Veloy Leilois. Ah, so that's why Ben Zoyma came and said there's a diuk in the Qur'an, the extra word called. There is in the Talks and Tales a beautiful story. With every Dvar Torah goes a story. The Shpolo Zayde and the Vaisa Bear. Beautiful story. There was a Yid at Yehisen Rebbe, and they called him the Weisser. Why did they call him the Weisser? Because it was a story that happened. It was a poet, and every year the poet would he had forests, unbelievable amount of forests, and this Yid Rebbe used to pay money in order to buy from him 1,000 trees. At the end of the there was at the end of the winter, he made lumber. He would sell it to Home Depot, and that was his parnasa. How it worked was it wasn't like today artificial. They pump in waters and they grow trees as a shalosh. These trees grew for a few hundred years. Like these houses in Blend are made from wood. You see, this wood is not the chad shtaim shalosh. From Home Depot, real wood. This Yid would go around. He had 1,000 trees, so he would pick. He knew, he'd put a simon on each tree, and then he would have a whole team of goyim that would come and cut down the trees and schlep the trees and it tie it together, put it on the river. It was at the end of the winter, and he came into the forest, and he was so busy looking at the trees and marking the trees. And Mitamoli looked up, and he said there was a beer just came out of its hibernation. He has a Rebbe, and not the Rebbe, the Groisse Rebbe. And beer.
I know.
So the Chachsidische Ingeman. The Chachsidische Ingeman. So he runs away. The beer is running after him. The beer is hungry. The beer is hungry. So at one point, he tried to get away from the beer. He started running around the tree. The beer is also running behind him. And his head is spinning. In another second, he's falling on the ground. And that's it. And the beer is going to eat him up. But the beer is also getting dizzy. So the beer tried to catch him by going like
a hug.
Yeah, giving a tree hug.
Beer hug.
A beer hug. So the beer was on the other side of the tree, and he thought he was going to chop the yid, but instead of chopping it, it was a very fat tree, and the beer chopped the tree. So the yid right away held his hands on the hands. The beer couldn't move now. even though it's a big, strong beer, he couldn't move. And he's holding with one hand, he's holding his two hands. With the other hand, he took off his belt, and with Gevura Iloya, he took that and he tied his belt on the two hands of the beer. And the beer was now stuck on the tree. So the Yid went into the city and he called the Goyim. The Goyim didn't believe him. They came with hacks and spiks, and they couldn't believe it. It was a beer. He's stuck. He's tied to the tree. Okay. They went and they called the Poritz. And the Poritz was, wow, he couldn't believe the story. He took out his gun, they gave him nine shots, and that was it. And then he told them that he made a beautiful thing, a carpet, to be in his house. He told everyone the story of the Rebbe Rebbe. The Yid came home. The next morning, no one could recognize him from the unbelievable stress. Overnight, he turned white, snow white. His hair, his beard. So that's why they called him the Weiße Bear.
The story.
From the story. And there was a Yid that decided he wants to undercut Rebbe. And what happened was the Poritz would put out a bid for the fish, for the right to cut the trees. At the end of the winter, he would put out bids for all the things that he had. Now, the Yidden all knew that the Weiße Bed, he had a chazaka with the Poritz, and no one ever tried to undercut him, to give him a different bid. But there was a Yid that came, he said, you know what? He tripled the price. He tripled the price. He put in an envelope with a bid. Triple the price. When they opened up in the office, and when the Yid, the Vice Bear came to the office, they told him it's very sad, but another Yid put in a bid. He went right away to the Rebbe, to Shpola Zayda. Shpola Zayda said, "Don't worry about it. You go, do what you do every year. Put in your bid. Okay." Now, the other Soicher, his name was Meir, and talks and tells the story. Meir Pinske. And they said, okay, if he wins the mecharaz, he was the highest bidder. So he comes and he gives 1,000 ruble or whatever it is, half the money. He would give it in advance, and they give him a contract. He grabs the contract and he goes home. He didn't look. He grabbed it. I gave him a contract, so he grabbed the contract and he went home. And then comes a week later, and he goes to the forest, and he starts marking the trees. So the guards in the forest come over and they say, who are you? He said, I'm Mayor Pinska. I'm a businessman. So who give you a right? He says, here's the contract. So the guards, they read it. And what happened was, that because in the office, they always would write the contract for the Yid, the Vice Bet. Accidentally, they wrote the same name. So didn't say his name. They said, what's your name again? He said, Mayor. They look, they see in the document. You're a Ganef. They started chasing him. Okay. A day later, and the vice bear shows up, and the two guards come over and he say, "Yeah, you know what happened? Some Michiganer was here. He must have stolen your contract. He stole your contract. He started to make simanim on the trees. We made a few simanim on his body." So he wouldn't go steal a contract from you ever again. The kid said, this guy never came home when he was wounded. He went to the Poritz, and the Poritz was Odom Yosher. He said, okay, let's find out who of my guards did it to you. All the guards came.
Nobody did.
He said, which one? He said, I don't know. There were two guys. They look like devils. The Poritz said, yeah, I mean, you also acted like a devil. So the devils are looking for the devil. Okay. Nebuch Meir went home, Mebusha, but the part it's called the Yid, the other Yid. They asked him, what's going on over here? He said, I don't know what's going on. I can tell you, I went to my Rebbe, and my Rebbe told me to. He said, "Hi, your Rebbe." He said, "Okay, why don't you go with the other Yid to your Rebbe and straighten everything out?" They went to the Shpola Zayda. The Shpola Zayda gave good musa to the Yid for trying to undercut the business of another Jew. And then they told him, look, this year you sell your merchandise, half the profit you give to Mayor so you can pay back for the thing. And Mayor, you never try to undercut a Jew's business ever again. Can't happen. Okay, here's a good story for a good Vartoy. Next. V'hisham l'goy gadol. V'hisham l'goy gadol. Malamet she'Yisrael mitzion misham. The Yidden stood out. The Medrash said, "Shaloishin l'sham begodim." They kept their language and the begodim. Ani is daitek avono shem mitzion beklas terponim avonim deim alavim. That the children look pachoje. You know what pachoje means? Tanimai Paruski? Ask the Russians and the Shabbos. And look, the splitting image exactly. And you want to
The kids look the same
like the
their
father. Pachoje. Needle is daita. Abono shem mitzonim beklas terponim avonim deim alavim. Ashkosav ashalo kol amonim shnel b'shibit tzarim mitzurus mamash deim alavim. Why? Shelo yomru im mitzrim shalta b'gufim b'vad shalta gam v'nishusayim. The Mitzrim are going to say, you think you're your father's son?
It did happen.
Oh, it happened once.
Yeah.
So the Abishta made a miracle that every child looked exactly 50% like his father and 50% like his mother. So the Goyim can never say anything. Dugma l'dover Avram held the Yitzchak. Ze Yuven Revova Kitzemach Hasodin Satich Shioldu Besodus Abo Adorim Lobatem Fish Adover Al Pineis Afila Hochi Yeshash Mlatzone Ador. So therefore, the Abishta made a miracle that they looked a splitting image from their parents. Rav Zilberstein just published this year a beautiful Agoda, a son-in-law of Rav Eliashiv. He said there was came to Rav Eliashiv, a Russian Jew, years ago, to get a document that he's Jewish. No, prove that you're Jewish. He says, I have a bris. I'm going to have a brizanya. He said, could you prove that you're a Yid? He said, so Rav Eliashiv said, you have an Adis that was there by your bris. He says, yeah. So there was the Adis gekommen. It's Rav Eliashiv to say Adis that he was there at the bris. Agavi said, he says, you know his mother? He said, sure. His mother? Sure, I know his mother. His mother would give me one potato every day, 365 days a year. She would give me a potato. Mazeh, why would she give you a potato? He said, because in Russia it was impossible to get shmura matzahs, kosher lapesach matzah was impossible in the 60s. So she was a doctor, and she was the head of a department in a very kosher hospital in one of the big cities in Russia. And it had a little more kartoshka than the regular person. She had access to kartoshka. So she would give me every day one potato. She had a little extra potato every day. And the condition was that at Pesach, I bring her a package of matzah that are mamish kosher Pesach handmade. Not the jibby junk matzah.
Not the machine.
Exactly, not the machine matzah. Okay.
Not even the Ukrainian.
So not the Ukraine matzah, that's for sure. Real Russian matzah. So Rav Eliashiv said, could I talk to your mother? The guy said, sure. He gave his number. It turns out the woman she was so good at what she was doing that they had her hired in an Israeli hospital. She was an alta babichka, and she was still working as a doctor in an Israeli hospital. They called her up, and he said, is it true? She said, yeah, for sure. He said, are you Shema Shabbos? She said, no. Are you Shema Kashrus? She said, no, it was impossible. How can we keep Shabbos? Kashrus, Shabbos in Russia, it was not Shaykh. So he says, look, let me understand. You didn't keep Shabbos, you didn't keep kosher, but you paid, but 365 days a year, you paid for kartoshke every day in order to get matzahs kosher Pesach? She said, yeah. He said, wow. Rav Yashiv said, this is the pshat, ushmartem es hamatzahs. He said, some people start getting ready for Pesach a week before Pesach. Some 2 weeks before Pesach. He said, this Yid, this Jewish woman, get ready for Pesach every single day of the year. Every single day of the year, she was getting ready for Pesach. Unbelievable. Okay.
You were jealous on this lady.
Yeah.
Melo Futapa says that family sent them a package of matzah before Pesach. And the police, because some of them were Jew, they knew that. After all, they gave it them a day after Pesach. So what they did, the whole year he keep it. So next year we'll have
Yeah,
matzah.
matzahs.
So he also lived the whole year.
Look how it is.
In Seder, he did this?
It was severe.
Wow.
Okay, v'hisham de laviseinu. V'hisham de laviseinu. Before we read the pshat inside, there's a beautiful pshat. So how do we know the Eibishter loves us? He says sometimes the Eibishter saves us not by killing the enemy, just by saving us. If he killed the enemy, maybe he hates the enemy and he loves us. But sometimes he does a nest, we're saved. There was a story a few years ago in the winter. So many stories happen in Israel that you forget the old Nissen. There was a Mechabel in Yehuda v'Shomrei. He got on a bus, and he not stam a bus. Or those bus with the
Extended.
with the extended, the double bus, with a vest, fully loaded. And his plan was to blow himself up. The bus gets, and he's undetected. The bus is full already with 100 Eden, and he presses the button. He's waiting to see his Gan Eden, the shot of Gan Eden, and it's not happening. So he gets off the bus and he opens the jacket. He realized that the batteries he put the opposite way, Moshe Kapoyer. Okay, so he put in the batteries the right way. He closed it up, got on, weiter, waiting till the bus is very full, presses the button. Again, it doesn't work. Gets off the bus. After is one battery, again he put upside down. He puts it back the right way. Gets on the bus. Right now the bus is empty. All the Yahuds are not there anymore. God, the driver, a couple of guys. So he went to his friend's house to sleep over, and tomorrow he's going to do oitcha. But the Israeli intelligence got wind of what the guy was planning to do. He was arrested that night. Unbelievable. Kadosh Baruch Hu is matzileinu miyodam. Sometimes ein bal nes make benisei.
See the rockets that flying at the sun now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yesterday, a baby fall from 4th floor from the rocket.
Oh, no, in Motzeshav.
Yeah. The impact of the bomb was so strong, the bed and the baby flew from the 4th
And
floor
then
down.
the father was looking for him in the house.
And
In the meantime, Atzola finds him downstairs, walking around. He light injury.
Wow.
Ager Chosid.
Wow.
on the 4th floor.
Wow.
He fell
Not
on,
only nothing happened there.
he fell on the bed, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the bed, so he's saved.
Let's read it quickly. V'hishamda. Before we go further, the Metal Futafas used to say that it says Nagoda Magbi Makois, Vayimri V'hishamda. So we pick up the L'chaim and we say V'hi, this L'chaim that we made together, to take us through this bitter golus.
Also, it says Moisgim Metakos.
Yeah.
So his word is, you want to say, you want to explain one last question? Moisgim Metakos.
Gleimer, Bashesh Shchina, Imonu Begolas, Kamoy, Shinem, Yonech, Mitzar Lakach, Toya Chatum, and Otz Lish, Bono, Sam. Okay. Derech HaPoshit, He always have talked for the Bris Ben of Sarim, Sherlock Dalad Malfi, Samdalot. Cholder. This Avtocha that Abishter gave us, but Bris Ben of Sarim, this is that standing to protect us in every generation. Oishanemer. The he Sha'amda is Lashon a cave. He bekroksi in the cave to say gever kilo yursha rak yudumas vu isa na chosim olos na shalt mashim mumes. Oyesh lafarish the koya lagula ki kol agiulus adach shev lo yoy gula shlema. Next zeg see in the cave shida los yigula shlema la kach tzik shir lashem shir chodesh v'nei la chal shir chodesh b'lashem zocher. So in the cave to say gever asher chigulus b'tzam lo yigula shlema rak b'lashem v'hishamda. Neize b'chol der v'dor em dem leina chalasen v'kadosh baruch hu mitzleinu ve'adam. The kid said, "Vihi," because it was belosh in the cave, so therefore, b'chol der v'dor em dem leina l'chalaseinu, because there was a geula, but yesh acharei golus. Mashiach will come. The geula is not going to be belosh in the cave; it will be belosh in zocher, which will be a strong geula. And therefore there'll be ein acharei golus, and that's it. Okay. So as I said, I added to this word also a few more verten, and the story I already told you. Okay. I want to skip the next piece. I want to skip the next piece. I want to tell I want to tell another shorter word. Let's see if we can get back to this.
Sing it, Akoda?
Yeah, for sure.
Which song?
No, Vihi Sheyamda. Sheyamda. Okay, the Kloisenberger Rebbe told the following story. He said that it's unbelievable. He said that he didn't want to eat chametz on Pesach. He didn't want to eat chametz on Pesach.
In Sibir,
Not Auschwitz. It was he was in many camps. I don't remember where it was. It was one of the camps he was. It was not in Auschwitz. What's the difference? This camp, that camp.
They didn't eat the Olia.
Yeah. So he told them Erev Pesach. He told the people in charge that he doesn't want. Not only doesn't want to get the food, he doesn't want to know about the food. He doesn't. Whatever, give it away to someone. Not that he'll get it and give it away. He didn't want to get it. He didn't want to chas from get Pesach. I mean, it didn't. Other people can eat it. It's nefesh, you can eat, but he didn't want to get it. And he had a little tin. He took water and he kashed it. And he had two little potatoes. Cooked the two potatoes in this tin can which he kashed l'kovet Pesach. So there was no blias chametz. And that was his potatoes. The last day of Pesach, they were taken out of the camp to do a job, very, very difficult job, manual labor. And he thought he was going to die from starvation. He just ate two potatoes in 8 days, two small potatoes. There was a Yid that saw that he was about to give. So he told him that he has in his pocket a shtickel potato. And he cooked. The Yid cooked it in his own thing. He didn't cash it his thing. He cooked it, but it's a potato. You're starting to think all kinds of coolest that it's
It's not chometz.
Including. But then he said, "Rebbeinu Shalom, I worked so hard to stay away from even nachshash. It's a tiny thing of chometz. Do me a favor. Could you please help me, Rebbeinu Shalom?" He said, that moment he looked down on the ground and he saw a vegetable growing. It's in this under the soil. It's like he saw a few roots. He pulled it out, whatever it was. Say it was a carrot. It wasn't a carrot. It was something. It was mamish, a good vegetable. He took off the sand. He cleaned it with his hands, and he made a birded pri adoma. He said that was the tastiest food he ever ate in his life. It tasted like one. I mean, could you imagine someone didn't eat for 8 days and he now ate a fresh vegetable? He said nothing in his life ever tasted so good. Okay. Yeah, yes, it's very, very special person. With this, I'll tell a one word, and we'll leave it at this. What's the pshat? Chazal say that Bisman Sha'oitzim, but it says one pasuk. Chazal say one pasuk says that lo yimid v'lo yisper, v'misper v'nei Yisrael v'lo yimid v'lo. You never can count the amount of Jews. And the other pasuk says shishim ribui. So the Gemara says kam ba'osim retzon shemag, kam she'ein oisim retzon shemag. He said, what does it mean? What does it mean b'chlal that you can't count the Jews? What do you mean you can't count? You could always count. It's a bigger number, so you make up another number. After a million, you go to a billion, then go to a trillion. I mean, you just then just Google whatever. Make up another. Google is like after trillion because someone was thinking, what's going to be the next number? Google, shine. Someone made it as a joke, and then it turned into a real word. But what does it mean? So he said, as if you have a child can have a child, but that goes forever. So he says that's a pshat. That the Yid is zoicha, then he has Yiddish children, and then there's no end. There's no end. And then there's no end. That's why I told you the story of the Klosenberger Rebbe. Klosenberger Rebbe had Rachman al-Islam, had lost children. Came to America, and he remarried, and he had 2 children. And these are the 2 Rebbes, the Klosenberger Rebbes today. These are the 2 Klosenberger, the 2 children that he had. Okay.
I think he lost 10 kids.
Unbelievable.
The whole family.
Yeah.
And continue life,
It's unbelievable. You know what? One more little word. Waiting for a 10th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll be a 6th morning, and we'll call it a day with this. The Chidah says that what happened was the Eibishter said that the Eden should take the wealth from the Mitzrayim. The Levim said, why should we take the Eden? They Nebuch.
They own us a lot of money.
But we didn't have the shibud. No, the Levim were never loyal lo nishtab to Levim. So Levim said, what do we need money for? What do we need money for? We were not mishtabed. The Eibishter meant that this is a payment. The Eibishter said, wow, you're not greedy. Money is to get the nishton. That's why you're going to be the Shevet HaMuvcher that's going to serve in the Beis HaMikdash. Okay. We'll leave it at this. We should have a beautiful Seder. Seder will be beautiful when we do it in Yerushalayim HaKodesh.